Thank you for having me. Thank you, Steffi, for setting the stage. I'm super excited to be here. It is truly honor and privilege for me to talk to you about the blossoming, glittering, and untapped potential of Nigeria's digital economy, and how you can tap into this economy. Imagine a nation where innovation is valued and rewarded, where people have access to the latest technologies and services, where businesses like you can hire young, creative, and competent workers, and where entrepreneurs also like you can easily, quickly, and conveniently start and grow business. That is the Nigeria of today. And I'm going to share with you that the future is much more promising than today. There are 4 competitive advantages you will never get anywhere in the world but Nigeria. So come to Nigeria and invest so that you can easily get this competitive advantage. Firstly, Nigeria is large and emerging economy. It is large in terms of population, economy, and also it is emerging. Africa is a continent with 54 countries, 1.4 billion people, and economy of 2.9 trillion US dollars. Nigeria alone has 15% of that population, and also 15% of the GDP. So investing in Nigeria is like investing in Africa. And also it is emerging because if you look at the tech ecosystem today, almost about 30% of all foreign direct investment to tech and innovation ecosystem in Africa ends in Nigeria. Last year alone, more than $2 billion US dollars was invested in the Nigerian tech ecosystem. And also, Nigeria is home to 5 out of 7 unicorn startups in Africa. So you can see how dominating Nigeria is. But coming to Nigeria, if you leverage on African free trade zone, you can easily expand to the whole Africa. Secondly, government support. Never in the history of the country, Nigeria has government support to encourage innovation and startup. There are so many interventions in terms of policies, laws, and infrastructure to help you start and grow your business. For example, in 2019, the president expanded the mandate of our ministry to cover digital economy. Before, it was just Ministry of Communications. But realizing that communication is not the end, but it's a mean to an end. The end is how can you use technology for economic prosperity. Then the president also launched the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy for Nigeria, which is going to be a game changer, and it will transform the country into a startup nation. Other agencies have to recalibrate to come up with ideas that will help the government achieve that. And just recently, the president signed the Nigerian Startup Bill into law, now Nigerian Startup Act, which is going to provide the legal and institutional framework for you to start and grow business. In addition to that, ease of doing business, you can get visa on arrival, you can incorporate your business within 24 hours, and many more. And thirdly, we have youthful and talented population, which you can never get it anywhere in the world. While the developed countries are suffering from aging, we have one of the youngest population in the world. Stephen said we have about 19 years. And also, according to Conferry, talent alone is $8.5 trillion market. The report predicted that by 2030, there is going to be 85 million talent deficit globally. All developed countries will have that deficit. Only India will have a surplus of 1 million. So Nigeria can bridge that gap and become the global talent factory. And when you talk about talent, talent is the people component of technology. You need it to thrive in innovation. And lastly, but not the least, you have high potential of social and economic impact if you invest in Nigeria. We have so many challenges that need innovative ways of solution. We have challenges around healthcare, financial inclusion, education, transportation, logistics, and many more. And we all know that IT or technology can provide a faster solution for us to solve all these problems. So we are here today to share with you and also invite you to join us on this adventure. Stephen has said it, we are going to have a collaborative conference in July, Global Tech Africa, which is going to be co-hosted between government, private sector, and not-for-profit. So you are all invited to join us, to have the look and feel of Nigeria and invest in Nigeria to be part of the history. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I really hope that after that conference, and if Steffi asks the same question again, there will be many, many hands going up. Who's been in Nigeria? So that I'm really looking forward to.
Thank you.
Well, Nigeria is really, I've been working in Kenya for the last 10 years, a lot in technology. And Nigeria, there's always a little bit the one sprinting forward, and then we are trying to sort of catch up. But it's always been sort of one of the real examples about technology in Africa. Bavaria, we also try to be a country of technology. And one of our politicians here once phrased it beautifully. He described Bavaria as a country of laptops and lederhosen. On the one hand side, we try to keep our culture. We have Oktoberfest, we dress traditionally. But on the other hand side, we are very much engaged with technology and are even trying to send rockets to space. What would you say would be the perfect phrase for Nigeria?
Yeah, I think the government has made a bold decision to go to the talent route. The government has several initiatives, and the government has realized that Nigeria cannot follow the legacy route to development, where you start by low-end manufacturing, high-end manufacturing, before you become a developed country. So technology makes it possible, and we have seen it in the case of telecommunication coming to Africa. in early 2000, when Mo Ibrahim wanted to invest in telecommunication in Africa, people were laughing at him. Who will buy cell phone in Africa? People that cannot afford 3 square mil. But he didn't look at it from that angle. He looked at it from people. Africa is vast. It has remote areas. People live some far away from their family. If you want to talk to your parents, maybe you have to travel for hours or days. But if there is a cell tower close to them, all what you need is to make a call and talk to them. At that time, in Nigeria, we had less than 500,000 landlines. And when he started, within 5 years, he was able to expand his business to almost 11 countries and sold it at about $3.4 billion. So we've seen how telecommunication revolutionized everything in Africa. Likewise, we believe emerging technologies are going to do the same. So we are going through that route to make Nigeria the global talent factory.
Yeah, that is a very, very important thing. You mentioned this amazing treasure buried in Nigeria, and this is all these young people coming of age at some point and being very useful, hopefully. And it's not just Nigeria. You said you have average age of 19. Kenya has 18.9, so we are a little bit leading there. But yes, this is incredible numbers of young people who can really change the world economy. But how do you get them there? What about education? I've seen you yourself, you had an excellent education, MIT, Oxford, but it's very much the Western one. How do you educate all these young people in Nigeria now to actually become a valuable asset to the market?
When you talk about innovation, it's about thinking out of the box. We all know that today you can easily get the skills you need without going through the conventional education system. And even in the US, we've seen most of the innovators or the successful entrepreneurs are dropouts. We are not discouraging the conventional education, but we know it will not help us to leapfrog. Therefore, the government has other innovative ideas, initiatives. Like in September, we launched 1 Million Developers Initiative. We want to train 1 million Nigerians to become developers, working from Nigeria, from Western countries and other countries. In addition to that, we have ambitious target of achieving 95% digital literacy by 2030. And we also just signed an MOU with Microsoft to train 5 million Nigerians on high-demand technology.
This is really amazing, and I really hope this will progress at incredible speed. You mentioned the word leapfrogging. We have another whole panel about that on Saturday. Yes, but I can really underline many of the things you said, and you mentioned the smartphone before. I run an education program in Kenya, where nowadays we used to teach them on laptops for the last 10 years, but since last year we switched completely mobile because we said everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody always has access to a laptop. Nowadays, things like office skills, but also things like graphic design, movie making, up to programming can be taught on smartphones. That's what we said, at least for our beginners courses. Let's go right to the smartphone and let's do laptops later. Do you think that's maybe overdoing it a little bit, or do you think this kind of leapfrogging, really finding the new tools for Africa, is the right way?
I think that's the right way to go, because even in Nigeria, if you look at, we have more smartphone users in Nigeria than in Kenya. We have a wider coverage, broadband coverage. The government is hugely investing in that, and we are encouraging the local OEMs also to manufacture and produce tailor-made smartphones that will meet the Nigerian market in terms of battery durability, in terms of language and other things.
While we have the last minute, you mentioned the unicorns, 5. That's really impressive. Sub-Saharan Africa. And Nigeria really has proven possibilities there. Do you think, well, people might go to all other African countries to see lions, giraffes? Will they go unicorn spotting in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think if you look at Africa is large, a 1.4 billion population. We have only 7 unicorns. So there is still opportunity to build more. Even as we talk now, in Nigeria, we have 3 in making, which maybe in few weeks can become unicorns. So we are encouraging that. Part of the government initiatives also, even within Nigeria, is to build innovation hubs around 6 geopolitical regions, identify the competitive advantage of each region and have a focus-driven ecosystem in that area. So we are hoping to have more in Nigeria and also in Africa, because mostly the idea is you start locally and take your product to the global market. So we encourage them to build the innovation-driven enterprise mindset. You are solving a local problem, but look at how can you scale it to other neighboring countries and the world at large. Thank you.
I would have a million more questions, but our time is up. So I just say, let's all meet at DLD Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you.